make somebody do it.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as is required by Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, with respect to the Home News Tribune, to publish the same. This announcement must be entered into the minutes of this meeting. For those attending today's meeting, please be aware that all board meetings are recorded via audio. Roll call, Maria.
Chairman Engel?
Here.
Commissioner Frankel?
Present.
Commissioner Katz?
Here.
Commissioner Moss?
Here,
Purpose of this meeting is to look at the additional ballot.
The first town is South River. Okay, the first challenge is, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name.
Tell me, Cooper Dallas.
There you go,
Yeah.
he's the challenger. The voter is Ricardo Ferraz. The reason for the challenge is it says signature doesn't look like proper letters. This is what's on file,
she's gonna give it, and then I'm gonna bring it down to the next person and
and then that's what's on the provisional. We can take the challenge, we just take the challenge with it, that's the one.
Of course.
Maria, can you stack them? Thank you.
The bottom paper is just the
No,
general.
check one.
It-
Oh, yeah, but stupid thing.
there's some more than
Wait,
that.
that was- yeah, let's do that, yeah.
No, move the chair over. Yeah, not really about that.
Charlie, is this for your media?
Yeah, exactly. YouTube.
I'm going to move to accept that ballot. The signature looks much more consistent actually than some of the others that we actually are worried.
They have to sign it. You guys have to sign it.
Oh, we do?
Did not do that.
You have to do ballot accepted and then sign
Okay,
it,
sorry.
please.
I'll second the motion.
Sit. I'll bring it.
Discussion? Yeah, I couldn't hear you.
A roll call.
There's no what?
Roll call on the ballot.
Oh, just a roll call, we don't discuss?
Did you want
Chairman Engel?
Yes to accept.
Commissioner Frankel?
Yes.
Commissioner Katz?
yes to accept?
Commissioner Moskowitz?
I'll bring it over, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. The next one is Lillian Andrews and Harry Eskinar. It says handwriting and signature is the same as the opposite one. Do you want to?
Yeah, so there, when looking at through these, the address is one Stanton Street for both of them. The applications are same exact handwriting, almost similar signature handwritten, so it almost looks like one person did both of those. If you look at the two applications.
Do we have sample signatures for the people?
You're looking at he's looking at this part here. He's indicated that this is the same handwriting.
Not the signatures.
It's
No,
exactly the
it's talking
same.
about the handwriting.
It is the same.
On the provision, on a vote by mail, there's a spot that you can sign that you've assisted somebody, but this looks like somebody
There is
that.
nothing on the provisional ballot that provides for an assistant to sign a list that they've
It matches
assisted.
what's in the system.
So if
The
one-
signature matches
if
what we
one
have on file.
Relative
Oh, we just
filled
don't
out the
have
other
it.
part, and the right voter signed for it.
That's
I don't
not
see an
what was
issue.
in question, it was this part.
And if there was this provisional section on the provisional ballot, that said, that's it, that's what you have, in my view.
So Commissioner said, it's not like the DDM where you have that, that provision. So like the issue would be, do the signatures look like they're the same person?
Right.
I was
That's what I'm
just told
talking
that the
about.
signatures match exactly in the system.
It's that way they can sign it and then end up this way.
Okay,
Did you see the signature?
I did not see the signatures, they didn't have them, they were not accessible at the time, but we did.
So the point, well, I'm asking, he said,
We don't provide signatures. He
okay,
didn't ask for signatures, he said they hand.
Yeah, I just looked at the handwriting for the whole thing,
well,
and
that
then,
particular challenge is not going to affect the validity of the actual vote. In other words, the challenge you're presenting to me as a board member is that somebody might have written the same top of the ballot out, which is possible and may be likely, but it doesn't affect the actual voter signature, which had been checked and was approved.
And if the commissioners agree that the
Well, we
signatures
didn't,
match,
but we
then
didn't
they
get,
match.
we didn't
Yeah,
get
but
the
it doesn't
signature
matter,
back.
we don't need,
We just
the staff-
rejecting the challenge.
to the extent that the staff thinks there's any question about the signature, it's presented to us for a decision, and we've done that
A whole
about
bunch of
14
times.
14 different days or 15 different days, and this was not part of it.
Not one of those.
So that was not even, it didn't even get to that point.
Correct.
So in this instance, the provisional ballot does not provide for any spot for an assistant to show it. So there's nothing there that for our purpose, at least for my
That would
purposes,
negate
would
the
indicate
actual ballot.
that. So I move that we accept both of them.
And the signatures match those,
We're not,
Yes, imagine what we have on file.
but we don't have a copy of those here to check to see.
You didn't ask me to copy the signatures, that wasn't in question.
Well, the signature's written in the, it says handwriting and signature is written on the challenger.
So the signatures appear to be in the same hand as the challenge as well.
Is that, are you saying that both signatures look the same?
Yeah, they're the same as the
we don't
handwriting.
have that.
You don't have
She didn't
that.
bring it because she only, Linda
Because
only
we,
saw.
the staff, and I checked after, and everything matched. So. You want to get that frame printed upstairs and around, matched.
I gotta put it up on the computer.
Can you bring it up on the computer?
There wasn't a question about that.
Yeah, you get that.
Tom can get it on the computer.
I move we accept it.
Tom's going to bring up the signature on the computer.
Oh, okay, we'll wait.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are there more?
Yes.
More from South River? Okay. So why don't we hold this and then we can move that? Is that okay?
Next one is voter did not fill out home address. It was
Tom, do
filled
you
in
need them?
manually by Board of Elections. I don't know who the seasonal employee is, but they wrote down in red an address. I don't know where they got it from except for the label. We have them at 41 Division Street. They hand wrote 41 Division Street. That's not correct. Well, I don't know if it's correct because the voter did not fill out their
The
address.
voter did not fill out the address.
The street
and-
address is missing, but the town is there, so that was an incomplete cert.
Did they write South River on
We're
it?
gonna have to
They did.
put the signatures on
There's
that table.
no ballot.
Let's walk around and let's look at it.
There's no ballot face, there's only one ballot face in
In
South
South
River.
River, correct. These two. So you want,
Throw out ballot for the incomplete certification?
If we- In some instances, we do.
Yeah, but in this
If we
instance,
had
it
a
wasn't
situ-
filled
if we had
out by
a
the
situation,
voter.
We were in a town, and we-
Let's walk here.
What are you saying?
if we were in a situation, we didn't put the street address down, we put South River down. If this were an election, and I don't even know who this is, if we had an election where they had board races, let's say Woodbridge, and all they did was write down Woodbridge, they certified they live in Woodbridge, that would be a question, that would be an issue of rejecting, because we wouldn't know which of the 5 wards they had to roll up with. South River has one ballot face. Wherever they live in South River, as long as they live in South River, they have the same, they're running for the same people.
What
They're
does Title
certified.
19 tell us, though? Do they have to complete that or not? If the certification
We've
needs to
accepted-
be completed in order to accept it, it's not complete.
Over the years, we have accepted, there have been challenges and similar challenges like this over the years before. To the extent it didn't make a difference, we generally accepted it because we looked at the voters' intent, we try to stretch as much as possible to accept. the
Well, we're not
voters' intent.
stretching here, and it obviously does make a difference, and there would not be a challenge, correct?
No.
So my
no, no, no,
question
we've
is,
had
does
lots of
19
challenges.
tell us
We've had lots of,
that we cannot accept an incomplete certification? Don? Dan? Sylvia?
Don is correct in the past. It's a town such as South River that does not have wards, but it's listed as South River. We've given the benefit of the voter because it's only a ballot face. And we agree that it's South River, so we would agree to let that count. We try to give the benefit as much as we can to the voter as much as we can. A judge would do that also, by the way, so.
And we've had other things where I believe they left out, for example, they left out the town, but they put the street address down, and it wasn't the same, they were still in the same town. and it was-
Haven't we thrown out ballots that do not have complete certification? Don't we come-
Completely blank, yes. Completely blank means indicating he lives in Dublin or
Completely
he or
blank,
she.
sometimes they haven't signed. There were
The only
certain
ones
things-
we've ever thrown out have been completely blank, is that what you're telling me? I'm asking
No, may I see what
Mr.
that?
Luigi,
May I see?
because,
Right.
sure. I don't like somebody else filling in ballot of
No, I
any
understand that.
degree.
Well, it's not how seasonal employees wrote on there, they should have wrote on there. They should, I guess they don't, they're doing the right thing by completing it, but they should have wrote.
And sometimes, for example, this has a current home address. Sometimes people have not included the county or the zip code, county, include the gender.
And have you always counted it when the address is blank? So if there's not a word system?
In the past, yes.
They've given the voters the benefit.
If the voter is included the municipality, and there's no word system, to the best of my knowledge, we have not rejected in any instance. If there's a word system, we have, right?
Right, word system.
Word system we have, because you have.
We would only, it would only be not the top of the, it would be on the local ballot for a board system, we would not count.
You're not counting those for the local one?
Yeah.
But we do the other one.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Okay.
So this voter was done a new voter online, so that's the survey we had
So
on.
it was a stylist or something?
Yeah.
That's the age. Just his first name.
Just the first name.
Okay.
And then
Well,
there's
that's-
no voter registration form, and you said that he was here, I'm assuming he was done just recently.
You got this down, right?
What's that?
Oh, you want to bring
I'll do the other
down?
one as well.
Yeah. Well, we do that, I'm gonna move that we accept the ballot.
Exactly. You're accepting?
I move to
Move to accept, second?
Can you go back to Commissioner Montanez
Second.
to
Yeah,
sign?
well, I will.
Maria, roll call on that.
What's this stand up?
Let's do a roll call on that executive.
Chairman Engel,
Yes, to accept.
Commissioner Franklin,
Yes to accept.
Commissioner
Katz?
Not accepted.
Me?
no, Commissioner Katz,
Yes, to accept.
Commissioner Moskowitz,
No.
You can sit, I'll walk, I'll once I get up, I'll get up.
I'm hearing Commissioner.
Same address, they can put the first name.
Second.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, what do you think is the first name that's really there? Is that the right name, Andrew? Yeah.
Voted from OVR.
They accepted,
You check the building.
they accepted his registration with just one name. so.
But we didn't, but they're not, we would have seen that,
We might have.
we might have.
First name, the first name is
It doesn't
consistent.
look, but it doesn't look the same.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't look the same.
This one? Yeah, especially the age.
What is that on the 19th? Birthday present, it goes through months, and now because that's birthday, it should be accepted.
Voter can register, they consider as their signature, they print their signature as their signature, that's their signature. I think I said it went out.
He did say it, which is what I just said to you.
Oh, well, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's good.
Where's it looking at?
Are you showing us the other, the one for the wife?
What's that?
Are you showing us the one for the wife?
That was the one I just showed you.
Harry saw the one that takes the first name of the owner.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see this one.
Yeah, that's home, that's what we showed us with the first thing.
Oh, I knew.
Yeah, boom, 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 no. But we're all spread
And
out.
there's nothing I can say.
The volume is incredible.
Yeah.
Right? They're gonna tell me that that's what they says.
If they,
I just can't
whatever
remember
there's,
the cafe parade.
we can even decide, we can prove on what
Yeah.
If someone decides that their signature, that's their signature, and then it's consistent on.
This is not consistent with the thing you showed me on here. So you don't think that I don't understand.
I don't.
Only a two.
Okay, I got it.
But this one, I think, is more similar to
There are
me.
only 2 people in front, having,
Remember, this was all, these were all, because all of these were signed in the polling place, they were there. It's not like there was some third person that came in and helped them.
Let's make a decision.
A main person at their home or elsewhere who signed. It was signed by someone else, it was signed in the polling place while the voter had their ballot in hand.
Do we have a motion?
I move to accept, you want to do them separately? Beatrice, did you want to do those separately? Somebody want, I would move to accept both of them. If you want, if someone wants to separate.
Do we have a second?
I do not.
I don't like the one.
Do we have a second? Just then we can vote.
I don't want, then you can vote or discuss.
We can make a motion, if we second it, we can make
Then
a
we
discussion
vote.
and then we can vote. So I'll second the motion.
Okay.
All right, roll call,
We
Maria?
can discuss, we can discuss.
Which one are we vote on? Did you say the motion is to accept?
No, not accepting.
No. Don's motion was to accept
Yeah,
both
which
ballots.
one?
Yeah.
That's what I said, if you
And
want
yours
to
was the
separate.
second?
Yes, I want you to separate.
Okay, I move to accept, I think it's the husband's one, it's the, are we expecting more?
Which one is this is doing?
Are we expecting more attendees?
Scander.
That's the one I'm not accepting.
HANYESKANDER.
Oh, that's a different one altogether. Right?
I don't know, this is the problem when I'm putting everything together.
What's the name, Linda?
I just read HANY
Oh, that's a different one.
Eskander, ESKANDER. This is the one with the signature, and the written part.
And the other one, which is completely printed, I'm going to accept because you're telling me that printing is acceptable.
Yes.
Don't say it again, I got it.
That's the one that on the computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, the signature.
Yeah, we just, in each instance, they registered with just printing their
Is
first
that
name.
Lillian?
And it's here, it's they printing their first name.
I'm going to accept Lillian. I'm accepting Lillian and Nathan.
So we're doing it separately.
Yes, we
do
are.
Amy first.
That's not the one we thought we were doing.
No, that's,
I'll accept that.
okay. So your motion is to accept Harry,
Yes.
Amy,
Amy,
HANY.
Amy, and we second it, okay, I'm sorry,
I'll
yes,
second it.
okay.
Roll call?
Chairman Engel?
Yes to accept.
Commissioner Frank?
Yes to accept.
Commissioner Katz?
Yes, to accept.
Commissioner Moskowitz?
No.
I move to accept the other, the second.
Lillian.
Next one is Lillian, ANDRAWES.
Second.
Lillian.
Here.
I'm sorry, the Lillian, may I look at it again? Yeah.
You need a roll call?
Did you see the signature?
Yeah, I saw, I
You
looked at
did?
it, yeah.
Dan wants you to see it again.
I just wanted to,
Oh,
I
sure,
wanted to
that's
see it
fine.
one more time.
No problem. I should change my signature just to be a small replace. I had 2 law partners.
nobody, Don, nobody would recognize you.
It's true. I had 2 partners, law partners in my old firm before 1995. were the two
Yeah, I had
surveys,
one of them.
and I can't remember which one was Alan Raven and which one was Alan. One was one of them.
Can't forward
There's
sign.
no clue, there's no clue.
Speaking of the old days, there's a
So
new
we can
revolt
accept
in
the
our
ballot for the
neighborhood
last
in Lexington Village. The board apparently adopted new parking
There's some
regulations,
parking stuff there, yeah.
and they didn't tell anybody.
Oh, no.
Wish John would shut up.
Like,
Well, but my husband's business is in Brooklyn, and for years, that's how he
We
signed
used
bank
to, I
statements.
think, do it across the court. I read it.
Okay, Linda.
Did
The
you
next
vote?
one is,
Did you vote on that one?
Wait, but we got to do all.
Yes, to accept.
roll call? Did you do a roll call?
Did we do it already?
I don't think so.
No, not the second, not the second one.
not the second one.
Motion to
This is
accept.
the
Yes,
wife.
to accept.
Commissioner Frankel? Commissioner Frankel?
Yes, to accept.
Commissioner Cass?
Yes.
Commissioner Moskowitz?
Yes. Stressful.
Here's some easier ones. Voter is Ashley, S-P-O-R-E-R. The challenge is voter wrote wrong first name on cert manually changed by the Board of Elections, not by voter. Deputy McFarland spoke to this girl, her and her sister went together, you know, they're voting together, they're in the same thing together, they wrote the wrong name. She signed Ashley but wrote Amy, which is her sister. So we accepted it because Ashley's signature matches what's in the system.
Were both sisters spoken to?
We spoke to Ashley,
Which is the vote, which is this vote?
yes.
So they wrote, just so you know, they wrote Amy on the cert, signed it Ashley, but somebody at the Board of Ed crossed out Amy and put Ashley.
Yes, we did
Oh,
after
so they-
speaking
oh,
to her.
They wrote it.
They
The
wrote
signatures-
Amy,
the
they wrote
signatures-
Amy at the top,
Oh. they-
Ashley signed.
Ashley
We
signed it.
called Ashley. Ashley said her and her sister went together, she
Okay.
didn't know she did it. We corrected it because we know it was Ashley's vote.
And this is
Correct.
Ashley's ballot, and Ashley signed as well.
Yes.
And Ashley's signature matches.
Move we accept.
Yes.
Oh, but I'll sign it, I'll pass it down if you do credit for it.
That's the last in South River.
No, I didn't challenge the other one because this is the only one that had the issue with it. I mean, if I would have known that it was the two sisters together, we would have challenged the other one as well to see, did the other one right, Ashley? How do you not know your first name until that point? That's, and somebody else.
Again, they went in together, there were two sisters voting, they had the privacy screen. They're helping each other.
This election,
Do we have a motion
Yeah.
I don't write that, I write Kelly.
and a second?
Second.
this
Roll call.
election
Chairman
is
Engel?
Yes,
very
to
different
accept.
from
Commissioner Frankel?
Yes, to accept.
everything
Commissioner
that
Cass?
we have hundreds of thousands of people who have absolutely no experience voting on paper.
Absolutely.
So we attempted to give them as much as we can the benefit.
Is there any more, Linda?
You have,
Well, wait,
you have to vote.
Yeah, we have-
Don has to vote,
Oh, yes.
and I have to vote, yes, I'll accept.
That's it for South River.
Thank you for your time, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom. Let me know what the, there's a deal.
Do we know,
You know,
any estimate on when the 600 might be counted for South River?
They're still over at the board and it'll be brought over by Devon Republic, so if it's not happening, if it doesn't happen tonight, it'll happen tomorrow.
Will we be notified tonight if it gets done?
I'll shoot you a message. I have your
Because
number.
we got, I mean, depending on, as you know, deadlines are very tight tomorrow with a lot of different things, so I was hoping that we would get some kind of count tonight, if we can, so we can make a decision on what next steps we can.
Now they know how to do it.
Thank you, sir.
Now they know.
You guys say hi, say hello.
Have a great night, guys, thank you.
Okay.
Are you-
Milltown?
are you here for the other
Anybody
one?
from Milltown?
Nope.
Apparently, everybody else is on quarantine.
You're here
Oh,
for
no,
Milltown?
seriously?
Milltown.
Okay.
They sent you for everything?
Okay.
Everyone in your firm?
No, that's the MCDO.
Oh, oh.
The other election attorneys representing CDO.
Okay, we have 8 ballots. They're all for the same reason. The challenge is not residing at above address. We'll do the first one. Bonnie, Reeves, I think is Reeves. We have her in the system at 72 Annell Boulevard, Spotswood. She's certifying she now lives in Milltown, so it's an address change.
No, she's certifying an address change?
We certify.
Here's the
which
label
is
saying she
valid.
currently lives in Spotswood, here she's affirming I now live in Milltown, she went to Milltown and voted.
Current
So it's
home
an address
address.
change.
And
It's
they
an address
had,
change.
and they gave it to her as a provisional because obviously she wasn't in the books.
Well,
Or
there
she
is no
couldn't have been.
book,
She could have been, I got it.
but even if there were books, it's an address change, she
I know.
wouldn't have been in the book.
But then you don't count her for local.
No, she's indicating she lives in Milltown.
Okay.
She voted in Milltown, she has
She's
giving an
affirming- she's
Milltown
affirming she lives
It
in
address.
says current address.
Do you wanna see it? Cause you didn't see it, they filled it out.
Which ones?
She's saying I live in Milltown, I voted in Milltown, that's a
Oh,
clear
okay.
address change.
All right.
That's what a
That's why
provisional
she
is
did
for.
provisional, which
Yeah, I
somebody
thought
would
there
have,
were two different addresses.
somebody
You
would
wanna
have
look at
told
it
her.
before we do that, or-
If they're
They
all
would've
just
told her
address
that.
changes like that, we can do it as one group?
It's what they all are.
Okay, so then,
Well, you want, they were all from another
gotta
town.
sign each one of them.
Okay, so
One
sign
address,
each
you
one
don't
of
have to write it.
No, I don't understand, this one is the same address, we have them in Brook Drive, they say they live at 44 Brook Drive, yet the challenge is not resigning at above address. I don't know why.
Okay.
Okay, but people were looking at it, they made a challenge. You have to,
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why he's saying that they're not at
Well,
above
then
address.
Mr. Baker doesn't know why they challenged it, so he's.
Same one here, these are all the same,
Which way? The same address, same address?
same address.
Okay, well, this one is slightly different. I
Because
think
that's an address
accept it anyway.
change.
Okay, this was the address thing. I move to accept this one.
No, let's do it as a group.
Well, yeah, but the others have the total same address.
Okay.
Well,
I don't
I'm
know
looking
why
at
you-
them, I'm looking at them, this is an address change.
Okay, well,
The summer address changes.
Whichever you
Let's
want to
do them as a group, if address changes or if they're the same address.
that's fine.
Let's do them as a group.
Do you want to look at it first or just as it described?
If you guys tell me it's the same, I trust you, believe me.
Well,
I know, but if you say,
Yeah, you don't have to look at them, they're exactly the same.
Let me, is this the address change one?
Yes,
yes,
Okay.
the first one was the address change.
yes.
This is the same.
That's the address change.
Okay.
She was registered in Spotswood. She moved to Milltown. She put in her address as the current address is Milltown.
No problem.
Okay.
He's done many,
I signed it.
he's done many like
yeah,
that.
well, that's fine.
I signed those.
So we're gonna count how many of these we have.
Got it. Oh, you want to hold it before you
Just
can?
get rid of it, put them in a group, and then we'll sign
There's
it.
4 address changes, including that one.
Okay.
All of them are affirming they moved to Milltown, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's have a
Okay,
motion.
assume you have no separate comment. Okay.
Other than what was written in the challenge, and no,
I
other
I
knowledge.
understand, but we're giving you enough the
Thank you.
opportunity.
So I make a motion of the 4 ballots who lived in other towns and moved to Milltown, affirming their address in Milltown, that we count those 4 ballots.
I'll second. Roll call, Maria?
President Eagle,
Yes, to accept.
Commissioner Franklin,
Yes, to accept.
Commissioner Cap,
Yes to accept.
Commissioner Moskowitz.
Yes. Oh, here, they even put their previous address, which is interesting. That was, you know what I'm saying, they really filled it all out legitimately, which is good.
And a lot of times they don't, and that's another thing that is sometimes challenged, if it's not germane.
Or if the challenger had personal knowledge that they were living someplace else.
Yeah, but they,
Yeah.
they moved.
These are 4 that indicate the same address as where we have them in the system.
Move to accept those 4 ballots.
So why was there a challenge?
Second?
I don't know, it says they don't reside there. That was the only thing on the paper. That's it for Milltown.
President Eagle,
Yes.
Commissioner Franklin,
Yes, to accept.
Commissioner Cap,
Yes to accept.
Commissioner Moskowitz.
Yes. I signed this one already,
You did?
this one, that one, and this one,
What are these about?
here.
These are the 4, the same, exactly the same
thing,
address.
okay.
They
I
just
see
challenged.
that. All right.
The last 2 I gave you, I'd signed prior.
Yeah. You should be checking off.
Remember what town they have?
Denellen,
I
sorry.
did
And
that.
She's my assistant.
I happen to have.
Did you meet Valerie Henry, our deputy
Those the ones
administrator?
that I
My
did.
favorite.
Those two names?
No, the same thing, the one with the same address.
All right, these are multiple. Let's go one with this one. Janelle.
Because in some of the-
Take pictures.
Like, they didn't have the prior address.
Well, maybe the number, I think maybe challenging the number.
Separate on the address, it wasn't really necessary.
Right.
It's the same. It's the same. Okay, these are from Denellen.
Okay, we have to vote on these.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We did
They
it.
did already.
Oh, we did these already?
Okay. Okay, so there's 5 here. Right. The challenge is they did not complete reason for provisional after over 18. So this one is, it did not complete section 1 and 3, which is, number 1 is reason for provisional, and number 3 says I am 18 or older, yes or no. That's the challenge.
Andrew Lukash?
There's a Sharon, Bobby Sharon, Robert Baylog, Gina Nizama, Carmen Sepeda, and it's Joseph McLeana.
And all of
They're all the
of these
same.
people are registered.
They're
to vote,
registered.
Which means they are at least 18,
Yep, they were accepted
okay.
by the staff.
Only went to the computer.
Yes,
Based on
they've
that
been
description,
verified.
if you want to see, I'm gonna move to accept all, is it 4 or 5?
Or, oh no, wait, 5.
I move to
Five.
accept those 5 ballots.
Can I, I'll second, but just a question, they both of these, or all 5 of these omitted number 1 and 3?
Yes.
Okay.
Number 1 and 3
Move to
is
accept.
what?
And these are all Denellen?
Number 1,
And they've all been checked by the
Number
computer.
one
I just
is-
asked that of Linda, and she said yes.
Are they all Denellen, Linda?
I
will say in the
Well,
reading,
no-
we
none of them
advised
mail
they didn't
ballots.
have to fill out
They didn't
section
check off
1
the reason
because
for
it
the
was
provision.
executive order that
There's no reason
everybody.
to-
Valerie, everybody's
They
fault,
got
I'm
it.
sorry.
So there's
And then-
really,
number 3
Valerie had a statement, Chairman,
Are
Chairwoman.
these Denellen?
Yes,
Valerie,
Because I have different Denellen ones.
we have other ones here.
Okay, all right.
These are all Denali.
Valerie, would you please
All
make
right,
your statement?
In training, we did advise that they did not have to complete section 1 because due to the executive order, everybody got a mail-in ballot. And
And they
they
couldn't,
had no reason, no
Right.
checkbox for executive order.
right, they couldn't print new
Thank you
shirts
for
and
putting
sign
that into the minutes. I think that's
I'll
important.
put it together. These are the-
What'd I do?
I'm gonna check on this.
Yes, I'm sorry.
That's all right, I'll just,
I didn't want to give you validity to your last statement, which I thought was incorrect.
which one?
The one that said I didn't check a thing. I thought I
Yes,
had.
yes, Commissioner.
Okay, sir. Thank you, Linda.
We got more.
But seriously, Valerie, that was really a good piece of information to have. Because while we should be more familiar with it, I don't think that particular statement would have meant much to many of us about not having to do that. We would have probably done that, so thank you.
The provision of ballot forms will not be printed or changed just for this election.
No, I know, but
Yeah, exactly, it's great, it's, the clarification is
very,
useful.
and we have it in the minutes, which makes it even better, and in case that's ever challenged.
That's fine.
Okay, this one is Claudia Jane Abrantes, A-B-R-A-N-T-E-S. The challenge is, does not seem that she is registered to vote. Here's the label indicating she's in the system. The voting privilege date is November 3rd, 2020. She's an eligible voter.
He is ineligible.
She is.
Okay, move to accept the ballot.
Second, this was checked as well, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Commissioner Frankel?
Yes.
Commissioner Cast?
Yes.
Commissioner Moskowitz?
Yes. I don't know why they would challenge that.
Well, their record,
Probably didn't show up on our,
some record they may have didn't list, or may have been a later listing and they have been earlier list, who knows?
Those infamous lists, huh? How many times have you walked into the, it's supposed to be opposite.
The voting privilege date was 11/3, so they were registered on time.
on time.
It was probably pretty close to
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Late, but in time registry.
This one is, Rafael Burgos Rojas. The challenge is wrong date of birth. The voter wrote 5/8/1988, I believe. It should be 5/4/88. I don't know.
So,
The person is
Challenge.
We think that's what it says. It's very difficult to read that. It could be 5/4, but Sharonda wrote this in 5/4.
So when the person is registered to vote,
Yes,
the signature and the signature matches.
yes.
Okay.
It just has to be, a birth date has to be
Yeah,
corrected.
I move to accept.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Engel?
Yes.
Commissioner Frankel?
Yes, to accept.
Commissioner Cast?
Yes to accept.
Commissioner Moskowitz?
yes.
What did we say? I didn't,
Look in the right-hand corner, Sharonda wrote it in red
Oh.
on the cert. Visual it should be.
yeah, I wanted to, that could be,
Okay,
that
no,
could be,
we can't.
that could be the right
It
date.
could be 4, it could be 8, we can't make it out.
That's exactly correct. You can't make it.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is Nadia, Mykytyn. The challenge is name does not match with registration. We have her in as Nadiya, there's a Y in there, it's a typo on our part.
Okay.
She indicated her name is Nadia without the Y. Nadia, we have her in as Nadia,
Oh.
And,
it's a typo.
I don't know, okay.
Maybe
So
matches,
When we
signature
put into registration, it was
Yeah.
with the Y that didn't
Correct,
exist.
that's
We
very
can go back and
typo.
look at that.
Signature matches.
Yeah.
Move to accept.
That's second. That's crazy.
Chairman Engel?
Yes.
Commissioner Frankel?
Yes, to accept.
Commissioner Cast?
Oh, sorry.
Yes,
Commissioner Cast?
yes to accept.
Commissioner Moskowitz?
Yes, thank you.
Sorry. This one. Two of these provisionals, the challenge is voted mail-in ballot. Duplicate someone with exact name. I don't know what that means. Three of them say voted mail-in ballot, and they did not vote the mail-in ballot.
Yeah, how would somebody else, that's not on.
I don't know why it says duplicate, it says vote by mail duplicated, I don't know, unless they have a list, and the person's on the list twice.
Other than what's written there,
Okay.
they must have had a list of who returned votes, mail-in ballots, I don't know how they get that.
I don't either.
If they did, these would have been
Yeah,
rejected.
just-
He would have,
Yeah,
These
you
would have
would.
been rejected.
I'm telling, they automatically get thrown out.
Right.
They don't get thrown out, they get
That's
rejected by
not-
I'm
commissioners.
sorry, I used the wrong language. She dissed me the last time.
They're not counted.
They are not counted, I apologize. Nothing is thrown out, oh my
Yeah.
So
God.
mail-in ballots were not received.
We're not.
If Linda and the staff say that they didn't vote twice, then that's
Correct,
defending.
correct.
Move to accept those three ballots. Three, is it?
Yes, 3 of
Move
those.
to accept those three ballots.
I second.
Roll call.
Chairman Engel?
Yes to accept.
Commissioner Franklin?
Yes to accept.
Commissioner Cast?
Yes to accept.
Commissioner Moskowitz?
Yes. To accept. Please take those words out of the minutes again. I don't want them in there twice.
And that's it for denial?
No, we have 3 more.
Hot in here, Charlie. I was losing track of which town we were in.
No, it's still vanilla.
Vanilla.
No?
Right.
Vanilla?
This is vanilla.
Yeah. Why can't I get into that rejected mode, isn't it terrible?
No good ones this year, like last year where the guys put his office in the strip mall
Yes.
for his house. We have nothing like that this year.
I've done that, and I've had those issues going back at least 20 some odd years.
Okay, this one's a mail-in ballot issue also, it says voted by mail, duplicate. This one was call for commissioner because we determined that they did return their mail-in ballot, so it was in the call for commissioner file,
So
so we
that would
also,
be rejected.
Yes.
So you told us they voted, okay.
that was in the call for commissioner for you to reject.
Move to reject this.
What was the name on that one?
Oh, I'm sorry, can you read the name?
Look at the label. Jermaine Scott.
Thank you.
Wait.
Move to reject.
Got it.
Seconds. Roll call.
Chairman Engel?
Reject.
Commissioner Franklin?
Move to reject.
Commissioner Cast?
Reject.
Commissioner Moskowitz?
Yes, reject. And then throw it out.
Kill me with that throwing out stuff.
Humor. You can take that off this.
By the way, the challenges were put, I assume you're representing them, but it's what, on the Democratic side of the ballot.
Yeah.
This challenge is against the Democrats. I just noticed that out.
Okay, this one-
because it wasn't-
I'll let them know, Don, thank you.
I mean, it said that the voter vote Democrat.
Okay, this is,
Finish the ballot.
this one is Juan Guzman. The challenge is he's not a US citizen. This one was also in the hole for commissioner because they failed to check off citizenship on their registration form and they failed to check off citizenship on the provisional ballot. So it was hole for commissioner review.
Okay. Normally, if we get a voter registration form for that, that doesn't say that. Is that something that they have to subsequently, like the signature, they have to come in and show us? Do we
Yes,
tell
or
them?
they have to check it off on the provisional, that they're a
Just check
citizen.
it off?
Yeah, they don't need to
Okay.
show us anything.
And do they get a correction letter or
They
something like that?
they get a incomplete letter. Yeah, there's a letter that prints, yeah.
Okay, but right now, they did not tell us they're a citizen on anything.
On any
Okay.
form.
Move
they're
to
gonna get
reject
another
the
letter.
ballot.
I agree, I'll second that motion.
Roll call.
Chairman Engel?
Yes to reject.
Commissioner Franklin?
Yes to reject.
Commissioner Cast?
Yes to reject.
Commissioner Moskowitz?
Yes to reject.
I think it's this time they challenged the Republic.
As long as it wasn't my people doing it. I office.
The last one is Andrew Lukash. The challenge is, did not complete the ballot correctly. I'm assuming they meant the affirmation statement, but it was a hole for commissioner because they're indicating they live in Warren County.
They're saying they live in Warren County.
Yeah, I think what they saw was the address wasn't filled in just a P.O. box, but they indicated Warren, so it was
Okay.
hole for commissioner.
They are registered in Mellon?
Warren County.
They're registered in Warren County?
Yes.
And they voted here, it said they would look red and, okay.
Well, they indicated on the affirmation that they live in Warren County.
I'll look at it. It's gonna be rejected, I'd like to look at it first.
They were visiting, the Miller.
You know, it's those damn farms up there in Warren County, you know?
Oh, well, the guy is registered in Denellen, but he says he's moved to, that he lives in permanent address in Warren County.
Okay, so I should have voted
That-
on
that's-
Warren.
that- At least that
Think about it,
explains.
this is the kind of research that most of the public has not a clue.
Okay,
The people who work at the Board of Elections has to do
okay.
for every single, I don't want to say ballot, envelope that comes into it.
I move,
Every single envelope has that, I mean, seriously.
That's it.
I move to reject that ballot.
I'll set for that one.
Second,
You apparently haven't lived in Ellen and
We need to talk to them.
whatever it is, the fact that we can figure that, find it out, say, go to the
I wasn't
commissioners.
sure, it sounded like maybe
No,
we
no, they-
administered Warren County to start with, and somehow that went to Ellen.
We want to move to Warren County, we want to reject, move to
Oh,
reject.
yeah, move to one thing. Reject.
Right.
Move to reject.
Commissioner Cass?
Move, reject.
Commissioner Russell?
Jack, yes.
That's it.
That's not terrible.
That's it.
Do we have anything else that we can say?
I don't think so.
I have just one comment with some request for us to consider. Because of the change that we have experienced this past time with the vote by mail ballots and the weight of the physical ballot and the fact that our voting places have been condensed, many poll workers are now doing or handling 3 times their normal load of ballots, both getting it to the voting place, etc. However, the stipend that they've received for their work has not increased at all. And I would really like us to consider that based on the numbers of districts that each poll worker is not going to be responsible for, etc. And I have heard from some persons that really it has been a major concern in terms of that. And I would like us to really think about increasing the salaries of the poll workers, even if we deal with, as I said, increase in each person's numbers, districts, ballots, etc.
My
So,
under- yeah.
I just to say, I did discuss it with Mr. Lynch. He suggested that I mention it today since the public would be in their presence here so that it could be a legitimate request on my part.
My understanding is the payment amount is set by state law, not at the county level. And I will, so that's not something, we could, if the board felt strongly about it, we could request that it be sent to the state and ask them to increase it in the event of this issue. But I'm not sure I agree with that because we combine polling places, but at the same time, instead of having four poll clerks there, we had 8, 10, or 12 in the locations. So we had more poll clerks, they had more work, but we had more poll clerks there.
Well, I did not have that experience in terms of the persons with whom I had spoken, indicating that this person's understanding was that a poll worker gets X numbers of dollars per district, I think, per time in terms of a primary, getting the beginning of the day and the end of that day. And it is multiplied by the districts. So that
No,
the general sense would be X, however, with the increase of each person's liabilities, then there should be some sort of increase in that stipend.
I did not memorize that section of Title 19, but my understanding is the poll clerk stipend, assuming that they have taken training, is $200 per election. It doesn't matter.
That was not what I
size-
was,
What size of
that's not what I
election
was
it is.
told. So I'm going to suggest that one of us or both of us.
It's not, it's.
Into it more
I can tell you
specifically.
for sure that the consideration that a poll clerk receives is not based on the
Every
number of
poll
voters in the
clerk,
district.
regardless, I am not hearing
Yeah,
that. So while I trust your
okay.
infinite knowledge of Title 19 and those numbers, I'm going to look into it
That's
further.
fine, yeah.
Mr. Lynch, does that go just directly into Title 19? Is there a specific persons whom I can call to get that information?
We're talking about the conversation we had yesterday in terms of the people
Yes.
carrying the supplies.
The increase in
Yeah.
managing supplies, managing the weight, actually bringing.
We provide an extra stipend for those that are transporting the supplies back and forth from the polling location. It's $12 and
50 cents each way.
50 cents each way. And again, for this election, we told municipal clerks that if they needed to identify additional people because of the issue that Commissioner Moskowitz raised in terms of the weight of the election materials being transported, they can recruit as many individuals as they needed to be able to transport those supplies.
we'll pay it.
And we would pay them the $12.50 going back.
As opposed to just providing a larger stipend for any one person who handles more because of they're doing it solely, S-O-L-E-L-Y.
Again, it was just really if you needed more people to transport the heavy materials, we authorized that.
Okay, but if someone called you instead and said, instead of more people, I'd prefer to increase it because the person's workload is that much more severe, do we have to vote on that? Do you make that decision yourself?
Not now, no.
It's communicated to the county, but
I'm
again,
sorry,
no,
Sylvia?
Not here. My suggestion is that we put all these ideas and issues and things that have come up over the past 3 months, I guess, for the next meeting, and discuss them at the next meeting.
Okay, no
December-
problem.
December 10th,
So you just want it as an introduction, my concern then?
yeah.
That'd be lovely, no problem.
So I think we have it.
And when is our
We
next
have to make
meeting?
a motion, I think we have to make a motion to change the meeting
Oh,
from
we do,
December
yes.
3rd to December 10th,
To December, from the 3rd.
from the 3rd.
Maria, you'll advertise it, I guess. So who's
So
going to make,
I make a motion?
all right, a second on changing the meeting from the 3rd to the 10th? Second?
Second?
He made the motion.
Yeah, oh, I thought you said, oh, I'll second
You
it.
made the
Yeah.
motion. All right, roll call.
I know.
Yes, to change the meeting to the 10th.
Commissioner Brinkley?
Yes, to change the meeting.
Commissioner Cast?
Yes,
Commissioner Moskowitz?
Yes,
so it's December 10th at 5 p.m.
that's the next
Right.
formal meeting, does that mean we do not have anything tomorrow?
No, Tom, you're gonna,
tomorrow, I believe by all estimates, we will finish Woodbridge either probably early tomorrow morning or late tomorrow morning in terms of all
we
They've
got
that.
already
those 60
started.
out, we got those 60
I have the
out.
guys looking for it now.
Okay.
They're going through it now.
So in terms of, and again, the staff has to do some, checks in terms of so on and so forth. So in terms of giving ourselves the ability to certify the election, I was going to ask the commissioners if we meet back here. Commissioner Katz has a meeting or an appointment later on past that is 4:30 or?
I believe here, no later than, maybe 4:45, I believe.
So I can, it's 4 o'clock is okay.
4 o'clock then?
Is that early
Is that
enough to get this
acceptable?
done?
We should start, I mean, we were already in Woodbridge, we started in Woodbridge, I'm not sure if you guys did yet.
It's just a matter of signing the paper on Elaine. You can sign it and leave.
Yeah, but we have stuff to review.
Well, 3 of us can do it.
But what do we have? We're still finishing up Woodbridge, so there may be like similar issues that we haven't seen.
Yes, we
So-
have, I think it's Piscataway, North Brunswick, and Woodbridge here at the college. We're pretty much almost caught up with what we have. I might even come pick up some more stuff and bring it back to the office.
Okay, but
We did bring over a lot
We're gonna review
today.
that here, I think, aren't we?
The what?
Yes.
Signatures?
We're gonna do
Yeah,
here.
we could do that here before the 4 o'clock. And again, I put that in the email to everyone. So again, asking for time before the 4 o'clock to go over those items.
Well, we're meeting here,
Yes, correct.
yes,
Fine,
that's what he was
yeah, I just know where,
clarifying.
I just wanna know where to go.
All right, so I will write up something and send it to all the commissioners regarding my concern. We won't discuss that until December meeting, which is the 10th and not the 3rd, and we will see everyone here tomorrow at 4.
Before 4, based on what
Yeah,
time.
a little bit before, but I'll send an email to all of you in terms of when
No problem, I can be here at 3.
duly noted.
Motion to adjourn. Oh, sorry, Charlie. Public comments, I guess.
Sorry.
Well, it's not really a regular public meeting, but I have no objection to accommodating everybody else.
Thank you, if I may, I believe it is on the agenda. Charles Cradaville, New Brunswick Today. I wanted to clarify the plans for certifying, but I think I just heard them. Public meeting 4 p.m. tomorrow, or?
Yeah,
No.
we'll be for a public meeting at 4 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay, great. And will a representative of the clerk's office be here so that they can instantly give us the results, or?
Then again, just based off of this, they're aware that we're going to be doing it tomorrow. They'll be here. I know that they said they'd make time to be here.
Excellent. Did want to follow up on the Perth Amboy stolen ballots situation. I missed part of your meeting where this was discussed, but was able to catch up on it. I understand the provisionals have been counted, those 2, by the order of the judge. And I just wanted to ask how many total ballots were stolen. Does anybody have that information?
And I don't think we can make the determination what was stolen. That's for the attorney. Again, we can refer things to the Attorney General's office, but in terms of actually saying if it was stolen, not really our
But we can say how many,
Well, how many we referred to, I guess probably maybe the reworded question for you is how many we referred to the Attorney General's office? Well, I guess it was a total of 9.
Total of 9.
so it was more than your original email. It was more than your original email.
Regarding,
Your original email said that when we sent out cure letters, either by a cure letter or any of those calls, people said, or they called the clerk's office for a ballot because they hadn't got one, and they said they had already voted. That email said that there were 5.
at that point, there was 5.
So we got another 4.
There were a couple additional ones post that were in, there were, again, as an example, Daryl Ferrero Almanzar was not, he did not present himself at that October 22nd meeting with his mother. I wasn't even aware of him until he came to that provisional meeting. So there was a couple of people of that family that did not, we weren't notified at that meeting and aware. It wasn't until after that email to you that we became aware of those.
Therefore, to our knowledge, there were 9 potentially fraudulent ones referred to the appropriate law enforcement. That we caught.
Understood. And so one problem is the 2 people whose votes were stolen, that was, their
I
vote was
think we're asking
restored.
you not to use the word stolen because we can't verify
Okay.
that. If you could just tone that down a little bit, please.
Sure, I want to get it right. So the 2 people whose ballots were voted on, who insisted they did not do the voting of it, their vote was restored ultimately by the judge, and they were able to cast a vote. But there's also, I believe, at least one person who was unable to cast a provisional and maybe had tried to get a replacement and wasn't able to get that because one was already on
We're
record.
talking
Right?
about, were you at the meeting?
I caught the tail end of it, I was late.
Okay. If I may, it was a family, and the person that did not vote, the son that did not vote was in the military, and apparently that didn't vote a military ballot. And presumably his vote by mail ballot was sent with the others to the family house, and for one reason or another, it wasn't there, and he could not, there was not sufficient time, he was not going to come up from wherever he was to here to vote on provisional. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. So I guess I'm concerned because that person ultimately didn't get to vote because of this, problem. And I am also concerned that, even though those 2 people were able to ultimately vote, the other vote has already been counted and can't be uncounted. Am I correct in what I'm saying
That's
there?
correct.
So
Not
there's,
just those 2, the other ones, assuming they are, the suspect possible fraudulent votes, were all counted.
I'll make a correction. There was
Thank
2
you.
family members, the Mohicas, who got the cure letter. It was again, staff identified that so that we were able to unreceive and they were able to receive a new ballot, so.
Thank you.
So,
so
Yeah, let's-
2 of the
2 of the
9
signatures didn't match.
Right.
2 of the 9 we were able to catch. The other 7 suspect ballots were not able to be brought.
So,
Because
That's fair.
okay. So 7 suspect ballots were counted. Of course, there's a race in Perth Amboy that's within that margin, actually, I believe, tied. What does the board think should happen, and what can be done to prevent this from happening again? Because I know this is the first time we had the ability to count the ballots 10 days early. I was concerned about that. I did, voice those concerns, and I should that happen again, the 10-day early counting?
Don, if I may, okay?
It's up to the governor.
It's up to the governor, and that's where you gotta go.
Yeah.
You gotta go to the governor.
Okay, I will try to bring that to him, but is there any lessons learned here or anything that we can do to
We're
stop
gonna
this?
evaluate this at our next meeting.
Okay,
Yeah, we're going to discuss all that.
great. Well, thank you for answering my questions, and again, thanks to everybody for the hard work. I know after Election Day, I said, great job on it, and you guys reminded me it's not over. There's a lot more to do, and been proven correct on that one. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank
a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yes.
Commissioner Franklin?
Yes.
Commissioner Katz?
Yes.
Commissioner Moskowitz?
Yes,
You want to say?
that's a little bit of latitude.